Welcome to Open House with Gerry Cornejo, where we feature people, places, and things that are in the news or who should be in the news. And this is the time of the year where I really look forward to this time of the year because we are going to be featuring officers of the San Francisco Police Department, of the, well, this time Salinas Police Department, the California State University, BART, and more. So the topic is PET 2014, and the leader of the group is here, Lieutenant Eric Kema, who was retired from the San Francisco Police Department, but then he's been doing this for the past how many years now, Eric?
14 years.
14 years, 14 years. And if you've been following this program, this is the 6th year that we're doing this just about this time of the year. So we'd like to introduce to you, an old friend from the PET to explain to you again, Lieutenant Eric Kema. So, do I call you Mr. Eric Kema now, or?
Okay, Gerry, that's fine.
So, Eric, can you tell us again about PET, and then we introduce our two guests here, a brother and sister, by the way, sir.
Well, PET stands for the Philippine Exchange Training Program, Gerry. It started with the SFPD, San Francisco Police Department. And its goal is to reach out across the ocean to our brothers and sisters in the PNP, the law enforcers, to share best practices and current trends in an effort to produce and serve our communities, our respective communities, as best as we can.
And I know you headed many departments at the SFPD, and one of them was the SWAT.
Yes.
And you were also the highest-ranking Filipino-American in the SFPD until you retired.
Yes, at one time I was, yes.
And, well, he's not with him now, but his partner, you saw him on his first year here.
Yes.
Lieutenant Luis Espinda, who also retired.
Yes.
So, sir, could you tell us now in this group what the composition of this group as compared to the past PET participants?
Well, each group is quite unique, Gerry, because I handpick each member of the team. And this year alone, we have 6 new members to the team, and they're new to the Philippines. They bring with them varied skills and experience, and which is what we want to do. We want to show diversity. We want to show different skill sets to our counterparts here in the PNP. And so far, it's been a nice chemistry.
Now, you were given an award by the President of the Philippines sometime last year. I know you were in and out of the country, right?
Yes.
Exactly. This recognition was bound to happen, and I was just waiting for it. I was just hoping to be a part of it, but then it didn't happen, to cover the event. But what exactly was the award, and when was this?
Well, it was about 2 years ago. And it was a presidential award for overseas person coming here, helping the country, specifically to improve the quality of life for people, basically, very humbly. But I just want to preface that by saying I wouldn't have received that award if not for the team members, that our collective efforts to make this happen. So it's just a humble award I received on behalf of many people that have made this program what it is today.
All right. And we have with us now a brother and sister officers, Eric Poindexter and Yvette Poindexter. Why don't you introduce them, and we'll talk to them.
Well, to my left is Officer Eric Poindexter of the BART PD, which is the Bay Area Rapid Transit Police Department. They're like the MRT police, but their responsibility is quite large because the region they cover is quite large. But he brings to the table actually a lot of experience, SWAT experience, teaching experience, anti-terrorism, all these skill sets in one man, who happens to be the brother of a sister, or a brother of a woman that worked for me as well when I was a sergeant. He came highly recommended by his fellow BART officers, and in the past 2 weeks he has proven himself to be 100% incredibly valuable asset to us.
Officer Eric Poindexter, could you tell us a bit about yourself, please?
Well, thank you. Well, you've interviewed one of my coworkers, Sean O'Connor,
Yes.
and I watched that interview that you did with him. Sean told me about his experiences here, and I was very, very interested in participating, but I didn't think that I was the person to come on this trip. I didn't think that I had enough to offer. So over the last several years, I've developed myself as an instructor and developed my background of knowledge That way, when I came forward to Lieutenant Kama, hopefully he would think that I would be appropriate for this trip, and it's worked out very good, thankfully.
Sir, as an instructor, what do you teach? What is your field of expertise?
I'm a firearms instructor.
Firearms?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I also teach our department use of force, which deals with how officers relate their use of force in the law and our policy, as well as I teach our tasers, and I teach the new recruits that come into the academy some of the things that we expect from them as future officers as well.
And you were able to share this with your brother officers in our Philippine National Police?
That's correct, and I learned quite a bit as well.
Could you tell us just a bit about your experience, about the learning experience? Because teaching is also learning.
Absolutely.
So can you tell us a little bit about this before we go to Miss Yvette Poindexter?
Well, that's one of the things
Officer, sorry. Okay, go ahead.
that I enjoy about instructing and teaching so much is because every time I teach someone, I see a possible different way to do it. I always ask people for their opinions and their thoughts and why they do things differently. And I gather all those things and I use it as my knowledge of base. And we can all improve, every one of us. So one of my goals in coming here was to learn things that I can take back to my officers. I believe in training as it helps people prepare their minds and their bodies. And hopefully I can take things back to my department and officers as well. And they can experience what I have here from the people of the Philippines.
Wonderful. Now we go to your sister,
Yes.
your younger sister, Officer Yvette Poindexter of the San Francisco Police Department. Could you tell us a bit about yourself, ma'am?
I've been with San Francisco Police Department for going on 19 years.
19?
19 years,
You mean you've been there since you were 3 years old?
basically. And I am older.
Uh-huh.
I'm the older sister.
Okay, okay.
And throughout my career, which has been mostly patrol on the street, during that time I've also been a field training officer where I train new recruits coming into the department. Also, I've experienced working our plainclothes unit and our FRET unit, which stands for Fugitive Recovery Enforcement Team, where we actually look for wanted fugitives throughout the different cities. I've also, throughout that time, I've also had the opportunity to work side by side with a former commander who brought me downtown with the commanders, deputy chiefs, chief, and work side by side with him as a liaison officer for our San Francisco Housing Authority regarding public housing, enforcing the laws and regulations for that.
Officer Yvette Poindexter,
Yes.
when you say you're part of the instruction team, I mean, when as an instructor, do you just deal with the females or both males and females? Doesn't matter?
Males and females, because I'm also trained in bike training,
Oh, okay.
so I'm able to assist with the
Bicycle,
training.
motorcycle?
Bicycle.
Okay.
Bicycle. So I'm also able to train with that. But yeah, but male and female officers.
Okay.
Yes.
And what was your impression of, you've met quite a number of female officers here, I suppose.
Yes.
And what was your impression? I mean, were you able to have a good dialogue with them, or?
For the most part, yes. Some appear a little shy, but they're very impressed to see other female officers, and I guess the representation of the female officer amongst our whole team. It's only 2 of us, so they were really impressed that we were even part of the group. So yeah, the interaction, finding out what their level is in the PNP and all the other organizations, it was very rewarding to see that they're able to move up.
Okay, and
Yes.
what instruction were you able to, what experience or expertise were you able to impart or discuss with your counterparts in the PNP?
Basically, I was able to help with our baton training, almost all of our training, our bicycle training, some of our weapon retention training within our group. So I'm able to go around.
That's me.
Yes.
This always happens. I always tell everyone to put your phone on silent, and it's my phone
Okay.
that rings.
Yes.
Anyway, I'll take care of this in a while.
Okay.
And so anyway, Before we go to Officer Eric Poindexter, just your
Yes.
impressions, just a minute. Your impressions of your visit here, your visit as well as relating to your counterparts.
Overwhelming. It was definitely a very good experience. I was overwhelmed, and the hospitality and the learning other techniques from the other officers, the PNP, just the experience in a total whole was overwhelming. It was great.
Well, maybe we can expect them back in PET 2015.
That's up to Lieutenant Cuema.
Okay, sir, Officer Eric Poindexter, what were your impressions? What made the most impression of all the many experiences you've had? What made the most impact?
Well, generally, I've been thinking that words can't describe what this trip has meant to me. I've done a bit of traveling abroad, and the people of this country are like no other country that I've been to before. The warmth, the love, and the hospitality that they've shown is by far and above the best, and it is truly undescribable. Unfortunately, it is undescribable. So for my friends and colleagues back at home
Right.
that were going to expect great stories, I would only tell them that they would have to visit and see for themselves, because I cannot explain to them how warm the people here are.
Thank you very much for that, Officer Eric Poindexter. I mean, on behalf of the Filipino people, I mean, that is really a very heartwarming and very sincere and wonderful thing to hear, you know. And although we always hear that, and you know, we always hear it, and sometimes we take it for granted until Filipinos themselves go abroad. They go to different countries, and then you know, I mean, most of them have said, hey, you know, we're too friendly there that they think, you know, they think, what does this guy want? Why, you know, I mean, you know, I mean, it overwhelms them also, right? I mean, so, but then I know exactly what you're saying, and we appreciate what you're saying, and, you know, we hope that, you know, they get that same impression, because sometimes media coverage, you know, I mean, they just show the negative things about the country. But you've had a first-hand experience, and thank you very much for that very generous remark. And sir, lastly, how did you get to choose this gentleman and the lady, the two officers?
Well, Officer Eric Poindexter came highly recommended by his fellow BART officers, who also excelled in their teaching skills and in this program. So I trust their judgment, and that's how he got selected. For Officer Yvette Poindexter, she worked for me when I was a sergeant. She was a very excellent field training officer, very disciplined, so I already knew what I was getting when I chose her to come on this trip as well.
Okay, would you like to say, you know, because we'll be playing this on YouTube eventually, would you like to say hi or hello to anyone, a family member, a loved one, your fellow officers? There's your chance. Here's your chance.
Oh.
Hi, Mom.
Hi,
And
Mom.
what was the name of your mother?
Rhonda.
Rhonda.
Rhonda
So,
Poindexter.
Rhonda, you have two wonderful children over here. Thank you very much for having them. Sir?
Last week, we lost a dear friend and coworker, Sergeant Tom Smith. He was killed while he was at work, and I would like to say a final farewell to him. God bless.
Thank you very much, and God bless you, too. Thank you very much. We'll be back in a while. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Open House with Gerry Cornejo, where we feature people, places, and things that are in the news or who should be in the news. And by the way, let me tell you the various ways you can watch this program. You can watch this on Channel 8 of Global Destiny Cable TV. You can watch this on GSAT Channel 1. You can watch this on Sky Cable Channel 213, or You can watch it streaming. www.gnntv-asia.com. So if they're in San Francisco, if they're awake, there's like a 15-hour, 14-hour time thing, you know. But okay, and we air aside from the whole Philippines. We also air in 7 other Asian countries, including Seoul and Mongolia. So, sir, we have a Lieutenant Eric Kema, who has retired from the San Francisco Police Department, but he's been leading the PET delegation for the past 14 years. What is the name of that other officer you were with, the co-founder?
Lieutenant Randy Katuray.
Yeah, is he around? No.
He's still
He's
climbing
here.
the ladder. No, he's not. He didn't make it this time.
Oh, okay, okay.
But he does participate in medical missions as well as helping us out with this program.
All right.
Yes.
So, sir, can you introduce our, well, if you've been following this program, you have met Corporal Mel Bautista. He's been promoted since. And, of course, Officer Ray Padmore of the SFPD. Corporal Mel Bautista used to be the SFPD, but he moved over to the California State University PD. And, sir, please do the introductions.
Well, to my left is Corporal Mel Bautista. Goes back a long way in the SFPD. He did almost 32 years there and then chose to go to another career with this SF State University PD. He loves the country. He loves coming here. He doesn't speak a word of Tagalog, and I'm still trying to get him to learn by that Rosetta Stone. To his left is Officer Ray Padmore, a very loyal and dedicated member of the PET team, very valued with his excellence in training the bike patrol.
Okay, let's start with Officer Ray Padmore. We were together a couple of years ago.
Yes, we were,
And
Gerry.
we were at the Philippine National Police Headquarters, and I witnessed, and we were able to document your
Yes.
teaching them the basics of bike patrol. So
Absolutely,
how was
sir.
it, sir, since then up to now?
So Gerry, as you recall, I think offered you the opportunity to actually get on and ride the bikes with us, but I think you politely declined. But this year what we brought a little more advanced training to the team. We incorporated things such as how you fall on the bicycle if you should be pushed over. We looked at taking on suspects if need be in terms of apprehending the bad guys. And we pushed them to another level. And we want to make sure each year that when I come back, I wanted to add to their breadth of knowledge in terms of bicycle training and bicycle patrol procedures.
Sir, how many PNP officers are in the bicycle, what do you call it, group team? What do they call themselves?
Well, I couldn't talk in terms of numbers here in the Philippines, but I can tell you that within the 2 classes that we gave, I think there was probably 70 or 80 people combined that
Okay.
actually took the training with us for the 2 days that we
Well,
went
for
to
sure there
training.
are more because
Yes,
you were just
absolutely, sir.
you were just
Absolutely,
here.
sir. Yes.
Okay. And by the way, they are accompanied by Police Senior Inspector Zyrus Michael Serrano, who has been with them for the past 2-3 years. 3 years now? 2 years. 2 years. Okay. So to the PNP chief, thank you very much for having one of your Police Senior Inspector Zyrus Michael Serrano to be accompanying the officers of PET 2014. Salamat po. And well, I'm sure he's going to watch this somehow. Congratulations, belatedly, to Chief Superintendent. That's general, right? Chief Superintendent R.T. Sindak, whom I have known since he was a lieutenant working for the NARCOM. So congratulations, sir. And we'll have you here. We've already had him here, but we'll have him back here and soon. So, sir, Corporal Mel Bautista, why the jump from SFPD to the California State University PD?
Well, Gerry, I felt that I had more police work left in me, so at that time, my time with SFPD was up, and I figured with all my experience, I would like to continue with another department, so I decided to work for San Francisco State University PD.
And, well, okay. Now, I'm sure you're, even with your name, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people see you and talk to you in Tagalog, di ba? Ay, sir, di ba? So, but Corporal Bautista, I mean, I'm sure you know a few Tagalog words, but then aside from the way he looks, I mean, you know, he's Pinoy in heart and soul,
I am.
but in mind and language, he's Californian. He's American.
Yes.
Okay, so can you tell us a bit about your lineage here in the Philippines?
Well, my mom is from Lawague, Ilocos Norte, and my dad's from Caballo Union. I was born and raised in San Francisco, and my first time back after 40 years was in 2011, so I'm back one more time under the good graces of Lieutenant Quem. He asked me to come back, and I'm happy to be here again.
Okay, can you tell us about your experience now in this PET 2014? What exactly did you, almost all of you would teach something, right? Would discuss
Yes.
something. So, sir, what did you discuss with your brother officers?
Well, I assisted in the crowd control techniques that San Francisco, along with San Francisco State University Police, work under. I assisted with the different formations to control crowd tactics, encirclements when we do make the mass arrests, and baton strikes, the way batons are held. Also, I assisted in the gun retention, how to make sure your gun isn't taken away from you during a struggle or if someone does go after your gun, as well as also officer safety tactics and tactics used by with multiple officers when entering rooms for active shooters and whatnot.
Okay. May I know, I mean, if you've actually had any experience, any actual experience in that field?
We've had I've been to a couple shootings, but most of them were outdoors.
Okay.
Where we had, we had to go into a building after suspect, but the suspect was hiding at that time, so he wasn't actively shooting when we went in to get him. So, and several shootings with officer-involved shooting with a crazed person who was on drugs.
All right. Now, sir, could you tell us a bit about yourself? I mean, this is because we'd like to have a profile of the people who joined the PET projects. And could you tell us a little bit? I mean, you said you were 32 years in SFPD, and then can you tell us about how you started out and where you're at now?
I started out with SFPD in November of 1979, and from there I worked numerous police stations: Central Station, Tenderloin Police Station, Bayview Station, Park Station, and I went on to the narcotics unit for a short period of time, and also worked plainclothes at the stations. And then I was given the opportunity to work one of the most prestigious units in SFPD, which is the Honda Dirt Bike unit. And I
okay.
was there for 15 and a half years until my retirement.
All right.
And currently I was very fortunate by my chief, Pat Wasley, who wanted to utilize my skills, my motorcycle skills, where he also incorporated a dirt bike unit with San Francisco State University. And now I am in charge of the training and the maintenance of the motorcycles of the dirt bike unit there. So it's a first for San Francisco State University.
What may I know I mean, I'm a bike enthusiast myself, although as I was telling you earlier, I have little girly bikes. What is your standard motorcycle in your unit as the San Francisco State?
Well, we currently have two Harley-Davidsons, Road Kings, which are used for primarily for traffic enforcement, and the four dirt bikes are Suzuki DRZ 400 CCs, and they are used for during the normal daytime operations of the university. We have between the numbers of 35,000 to 45,000 people on campus.
Wow.
So, and traffic isn't anywhere near like the traffic here in Manila. but
Okay.
but
Yeah.
we do have our traffic jams, and when we do have pressing calls, our dirt bikes are usually the first to get there. And for medical emergencies or any type of burglar alarms or suspicious calls or anything like that. So the dirt bikes at SF State are very effective.
Okay. Officer Ray Padmore, can you tell us briefly about your history with the SFPD from the time you came in to the present time?
Certainly, certainly, sir. And I think prior to the SFPD, and I mentioned this because it's really part of my foundation. I was a member of the United States Army for 22 years.
Okay.
So I actually retired from the United States Army and then sought out employment with the San Francisco Police Department. I've been with the department for about 6 years, of which during that time rose to the point of being the primary instructor for the bicycle training unit. I'm currently assigned to the chief's office. I was real fortunate to get the opportunity to actually come and work for the chief. I've trained at the Tenderloin Station, which is by far one of the busiest and one of the crime-ridden stations in the department. My home station is the Bayview Police Station, another great district in terms of the level and the diversity of calls for service that we receive. I also teach at the academy. So I teach our basic recruits leadership sort of skills, 7 habits for law enforcement, and numerous other subjects.
Okay. And how many officers are involved in the SFPD in the bike unit, in the bicycle department or unit?
Good question, Jerry. Good question. Each of the district stations, and we have 10 district stations, and that does not include the airport, and each district station would probably have 60 to 70 officers that are trained in terms of bike patrol procedures, but each station has a corps of bicycle patrol officers, and they actually go out on a daily basis to work their beats on bicycles.
Okay, so 60 to 70 per station. You have 10
Easily,
stations.
easily,
So you have
sir.
around 700 at
Easily
least.
that are bike trained, yes, sir.
Okay. Bike trained, I mean, they're actually part of the bike. They are trained, or they're actually 600 bicycles going around?
No, no. So we have 600 or 700 plus officers that are
Okay.
bicycle trained.
Oh, okay, okay.
Meaning that if they
Right.
should desire to go into a bicycle patrol slot,
Right.
they've already received the training, and they can transition very easily.
Okay. Sir, Corporal Mel Bautista, what made the most impact on this trip?
Well, once again, Jerry, it's the hospitality and the graciousness that we were shown by the Filipino people and the PNP rank and file. I'm impressed with the limited resources that they have to do an effective job. Us in the United States, as Lieutenant Quinn would say, take for granted the items that are given to us, whereas when we come here and we see equipment that they lack but still do the job, I'm very humbled by that and impressed that they can still function and do their job as effective as they can.
Officer Padmore, what made the most impact or impression this time around? Because this is your third time?
Fourth year,
Fourth
sir.
time,
Fourth
fourth
year,
time.
fourth year.
Yes, sir. So this time?
Jerry, it continues to be the hospitality, the warmth of our brothers and sisters in the Philippine National Police. And each time our relationship grows. It's like we never parted company, and that is always a unique feature and a unique characteristic for me when I come back. And that warm charisma and just feeling like I'm not Filipino, but feeling like I'm a Filipino.
Oh, you are a Filipino now.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
And before we go, we still have a minute or two. Sir, could you tell us a bit about Tacloban and the donations by your brother officers, please?
When one of our officers, a sergeant that's about to retire, heard we were coming to the Philippines for our annual goodwill trip, he wanted to write me a check for $500 to help the victims of Typhoon Yolanda. I tried to shoo him away to go to the nonprofit organization where he can get a tax break for his donation. He refused. He wanted to hand the money to me, which in turn would be guaranteed to hand to someone that really needed it, that was affected. So I took his $500, and then my wife's cousin heard about it. He gave another $200. And the president of our Filipino American Law Enforcement Officers Association matched that with $700. Then one person in our team wanted to remain anonymous, handed over another $700 to make it $2,100. Then individual members of the team also started handing what they could hand over, $100 here, $100 there. So what started as helping 5 families became 24 families now. And our goal, because we are law enforcers, first responders, we realized the fact that our PNP brothers and sisters in Tacloban were also hit. I believe they have 260 or 290 officers. Only 60 could report to duty. Some lost their wives, their children, and parents. So we thought, if we can help the first responders there get on their feet, they in turn can go ahead and give them the strength to do their jobs to help the community at large. And maybe that kindness and warmth will spread to that community that needs it.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that is a wonderful, wonderful gesture. And I think it's Officer Ray Padmore who has been appointed, assigned, volunteered to go to Tacloban, to go to the Tacloban Police Department.
Yes,
Is
sir.
that what they call it?
That's correct, sir.
So you'll be going there, and you'll be talking maybe to the chief of police over there?
Well,
Yes, sir.
no, I was going to tell you that thanks to Captain Cyrus and his hard work, he has set up an opportunity in terms of a liaison person that will meet me at the airport, meet my wife and I at the airport, and we will go make some presentations and opportunity to meet with our brothers and sisters from the PMP that were affected by this devastating catastrophe in Leyte.
Okay, Corporal Mel Bautista, say hi. Hi, Mom. No, go ahead, please.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say it's great to be back, and I want to say hello to my wife, Michelle, and also my colleagues back at San Francisco State University Police Department. I promised I'd mention your name, so hello, folks.
What are their names? Your
Well,
fellow
first of
officers.
all, Chief Pat Wasley, Deputy Chief Reggie Parsons, Captain Duenas, Captain Takahashi, Sergeant Balistreri, Sergeant Rodriguez, Sergeant Heyman, Sergeant Wilson, and Sergeant Tang, and also my three other colleagues who are corporals, Corporal Jones, Velez, and Mora.
There you go. Officer Padmore.
Jerry, I always look forward to this opportunity. I must tell you to thank all of the many people that are so supportive. And I'd like to start off by thanking our Chief Greg Sir, who, without him, this would not be possible at the level that it is every year. I'd also like to thank our Deputy Chief, Lynn Tomioka, who was extremely supportive, and she always is, in terms of helping us to accomplish this mission that we participate in every year. And lastly, I would like to thank the joy of my life, my wife Alice, for 34 years of a wonderful marriage and just inspiration and guidance and just help in making all of this happen for me in terms of being the inspiration of my life.
Wonderful. So, Corporal Mel Bautista, Officer Ray Padmore, thank you very much.
You're very welcome,
and
sir.
Lieutenant Eric Kema is going to stay with us, and we have two more officers that we talked to, and one of them is half Filipina.
Yes.
We'll be back right after this. Stay tuned. Okay na? Welcome back to Open House with Gerry Cornejo, where we feature people, places, and things that are in the news or who should be in the news. And our topic now is PET 2014. And we have with us the leader of the group for the past 14 years, Lieutenant Eric Kema, who has since retired from the SFPD. And we have with us now Detective Arlene Courier and Officer Mary Daggs, who Lieutenant Eric Kema will introduce. Sir, please.
Yes, Jerry. This is Officer Murray Daggs to my left. He stands 6'5". He's definitely not Filipino.
Well, he's just 1 inch taller than me. Okay, sir.
He
go.
worked for me as when I was a platoon commander in one of our district stations. It was kind of like a Tondo area. I noticed he's a quiet man, but he did his job diligently. He'd bring crooks to jail. He'd help people that needed help, and he'd do it in an efficient and very respectful manner. So that's one of the reasons, one of the few reasons, or one of the many reasons he's here today.
And Detective Courier.
Detective Arlene Courier came highly recommended by one of her colleagues that participated the year prior.
Who was?
Was Officer Bobby Balaoro.
Okay.
Yes, and she was the highest ranking Philippine officer as a detective, a very prestigious position, being a robbery homicide investigator. And again, in the past 2 weeks, she's proven her worth as an asset to this program.
Okay. We'd start off with Detective Arlene Salinas. I was talking to her earlier, and she said she's half Filipino. I heard Japanese and something else.
Hawaiian.
Ma'am.
Hawaiian.
Hawaiian. Okay, so there you go. So, but you could easily be a detective here. You'd get lost in the streets of Manila, right? Okay,
Yes.
so ma'am, could you please tell us about how you started off in your career in law enforcement, or even shortly before that, how you got in and where you are now?
Sure. Well, shoot, I really didn't think I wanted to be a police officer at first. So before I was a police officer, I was in the high-tech business. And in the 90s, the high-tech didn't do so well. So I had a midlife crisis or something and decided to change careers and go into law enforcement. So I've been with Salinas Police Department for about 12 years now, and have been moved up from patrol to field training officer. My collateral duties are hostage negotiation, and I'm on the mounted unit also.
Well, mounted unit meaning...
Meaning the police officers are actually patrolling on horseback.
Ah, okay, okay,
Yeah.
all right. Yeah, I was thinking that, but all right.
Yes. So just like bike patrol, it's just we use horses. And then I promoted into being an investigator and being a detective. And my current assignment is robbery and homicide.
Can you tell us a little bit about a memorable event in your professional career? I mean, because you've gone up, you've gone through the ranks, as you said. What was a milestone? What was a turning point? What was something that made you, I'll make it easier for you. What happened that made you appreciate your being a law enforcement officer?
I think just helping people. The turning point is basically when you get into investigations, you kind of get more detailed into your cases and all. So with all of my victims that I've helped and assisted in, in my cases and putting the right people behind bars for the crimes that they've done, I think the rewarding part of it is seeing them have closure, have some type of satisfaction in what happened to them. So it's very, very rewarding as far as seeing maybe a small child who, is a victim, or just anybody that is now can get some satisfaction in.
So it's serving society.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And you've met your counterparts here. Are there, I'm not familiar though, I mean, I'm sure there are lady detectives. Are there in the PNP?
I've met a couple.
Okay.
Yes. It was actually they were very receptive. It seemed like I was already an instant role model to them, and that was really rewarding for me. It was nice to have them come up and ask me about what I do, and vice versa. What did they do? I got a lot of knowledge of, how there's not very many female Filipino police officers until we went to one venue. Lieutenant, which venue was that? Vicente? Camp Vicente?
Camp Vicente, yeah, Vicente Lim.
Which they
Vicente
had
Lim, right.
quite a few Filipino female officers that I was very impressed with. So they showed what they, knew and shared what they know.
Okay. We go for a while to Officer Mary Daggs. He is with the SFPD.
Yes.
Okay. So please, sir, can you tell us a little bit about, he's been giving you a glowing report card, but can you tell us how you got into law enforcement? What were you doing prior to that, and where are you now?
Well, I was in college. I went to school. I always wanted to be a police officer. I always had a lot of respect for the uniform, and it's something that I always looked up to police officers as I was younger. So it came kind of naturally after I finished college that I went to the San Francisco Police Department, and I love the city, and it's such a great, diverse city, and that's what I wanted to do, and I was able to apply and get in.
Okay. And what kind of work have you done? How many years have you been in the SFPD?
I've been at the San Francisco Police Department
Yes.
for eight years.
Okay. And what was the range of your assignments and training these 8 years?
Yes. First, I started off as a patrol officer after finishing the academy. I worked in the Tenderloin district for the midnight shift for quite some time. It's a really rough area. I've actually worked under direct command.
Okay. Tenderloin is Sutter and Hyde part of the Tenderloin? Sutter and Hyde, is it? No.
No, that's a little bit further out of our borders.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a small district, very condensed, very very populations with
Okay.
a lot of crime, a lot of people on parole, and a lot of
Okay.
people who have committed lots of crimes and things like that. Very low income, but I really enjoy that because I like working with those kind of populations, and it's very busy. It keeps me busy, and right now I'm currently assigned to Tenderloin Police Station, and I'm a plainclothes officer. So I do a lot of undercover operations and things of that sort.
Okay. Now, sir, what made the most impact or impression in this trip of yours? Because this is your first time in the Philippines?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So what made the most impact? I mean, whether it's sightseeing or the PNP, or what made the most impact in this trip?
Well, I enjoy working with the PNP. I love sharing knowledge with them, and I learn from them as much as they learn from us. And one of the things that I really got out of it was we did just more than the PNP. Today we went to a high school and an elementary school. We made a large donation of things, and it looked like the kids were kind of lacking in resources. And I really enjoyed just watching their faces and how they get all excited, and they made it much more of an experience than what I expected. And I was just expecting mainly to work with the police, but working with the kids and seeing their faces really made this a very pleasurable trip.
Okay, and Detective Arlene Courier, what made the most impact in this? Is this also your first time in the Philippines? No.
It's not the first time in the Philippines, but with the team. It's
Okay,
my
with the
first-
team.
Yes,
All right.
yes.
Where were you born here, or were you born in the States?
I was actually born in San Francisco in the
Okay.
States.
All right.
And, my family's from Zamboanga City.
Mm-hmm.
So to answer your question, I believe that I probably piggyback on my colleague here, that visiting the schools and helping out the children with donations and all. And I also like the Lola and Lolo's Center that we visited,
Okay. Right.
which was awesome to see that they had a facility for them. And, it was just nice that they performed for us, a nice little skit, and sang for us. And I thought that was a little heart-tugging to me. So that was very rewarding.
Would you like to come back for PET 2015?
Well, that would be up to Lieutenant Cuema
Okay.
and probably the whole PET team. It's been a wonderful experience for me and once in a lifetime. I also got to spend it with my husband, who is also a sergeant in law enforcement, and he is here on the team with the team also. So.
Okay. Officer Mary Daggs, all right. Would you like to say hello to anybody at home, whether they're your brother officers, relatives, friends? Are you married, by the way?
Oh, I'm separated.
Okay. So anyone you want to say hello to or greet, there you go. We're going to be on YouTube, so they're going to see this. They're going to hear it.
Well, I'd just like to say hello to everybody at home, and I'm really glad that I got to make this trip, and hope I'll be able to make an impression and thank the Philippine people for allowing me to come here and contribute.
So you're not going to say hello to anyone in particular?
Just hello to my family.
Okay, and Detective Courier, ma'am? No, it's okay. She has a
That's
mic
right,
there.
That's right. We're so used to
Right.
handing the mic to each other. I just like to say hello to my family, my mom.
Her
My
name
mom,
is?
Pilar
Okay.
Pagaran, and my 3 children, Chase, Chelsea, and Zachary. And also, again, my husband, who's not here right now at the studio, but Sergeant Matt Eller. And I wanted to thank my police chief, Chief McMillan, thank you. And I wanted to say hi to my partners back in the States also. There's a lot of detectives over there, and also the patrol, hardworking people. Hello, Salinas PD.
Okay, and before I turn over to Lieutenant Eric, I would like to say thank you again to Police Senior Inspector Zyrus Michael Serrano. Maraming salamat po. And of course to our Chief PNP, Director General Alan Purisima, and to my good friend who is I think the spokesperson, or is the, ano tawag doon, head of the public, Public Information Office, who is Chief Superintendent, Chief Superintendent RT Sindak. So maraming salamat po sa inyo. And sir, and thank you very much, of course, to Lieutenant Eric Kema, who will have a chance now to say hello to whoever you want to say hello to.
Well, I'd like to say hello to my 2 children and my special niece, my daughter Michelle, my son Derek, and my special niece Dar. Hello from the Philippines. Hope everything's in order when I get back to the house.
And Mrs. Quema, she's
And Mrs.
here.
Cuema, who's here with me.
Yes.
She's enjoying and contributing to the economy of the Philippines.
And by the way, next time, PET 2015, I want to see another Quema here. Officer, what's her name, first name?
Michelle.
Officer Michelle Quema, you know you're going to be with your dad next time. Okay, looking forward to see you. So with that, thank you very much to the officers, to the gentlemen, to the lady who have contributed much, you know, to the, not only to the PNP, but I think to the Filipino people. They've given much more than material things. They've given their heart and soul to this whole project. So thank you very much. God bless you. Maraming salamat po. So with that, till next week, Open House with Gerry Cornejo. I love you. God bless you. Bye-bye.